Wild hogs were never meant to roam the northern reaches of the United States. Yet over centuries, these animals, once brought to America by early settlers, interbred with escaped domestic pigs and transformed into one of the most destructive invasive species in the country. Warmer winters, shifting climates, and changing ecosystems helped them survive far beyond their original range. And today, even the forests of Wisconsin have become a sanctuary for these muscular, fast-reproducing animals. I never imagined that my life would shift from quiet farming to weekly hunting missions. But the past 2 years changed everything. The wild hogs pushed deeper into the forest border my land, tearing through fences, uprooting crops, and causing thousands of dollars in loss. Every time I walked onto my fields and saw fresh damage, the decision became clearer. I didn't pick up a rifle for sport. I picked it up because my farm, my livelihood, and my family's future depended on it. That first encounter is still etched in my memory. A massive boar emerged from a patch of thick brush, its dark silhouette cutting through the mist. My heartbeat felt louder than the wind. Boars move with an unsettling confidence. They know the terrain better than we ever could. When it turned its head toward me, I steadied my stance, exhaled slowly, and took the shot. The giant collapsed instantly, and the rest of the herd scattered like shadows melting into the forest. Wisconsin's rugged hills, dense vegetation, and endless pockets of cover create the perfect hideout for feral hogs. Farmers in the region know that if you see the early signs of an invasion, rooted fields, broken soil, scattered tracks, you can't wait for the damage to multiply. You act fast, or you risk losing everything. Later that week, while patrolling the forest edge, we spotted movement between two large bushes. A boar paused, head tilted, clearly sensing something was off. They're smarter than most people think. Sharp hearing, sharp noses, and a survival instinct forged through generations of running from predators. But hesitation can be deadly. The moment it held still, I seized the opportunity. One clean shot. Silence. Then the forest came back to life around us. Boar hunting demands patience. It's not a sport of constant action. It's a test of waiting. These animals travel fast, weaving through trails they've used for years. My friend Hanner, a Belgian-American hunter with decades of experience, taught me to watch those natural paths closely. Hogs follow routines, even wild ones. And if you know where they travel, you know exactly where to wait. Sure enough, when we set up along one of those narrow trails, multiple boars barreled past in quick succession, their hooves pounding like thunder rolling through the underbrush. Each encounter reminded me that every hunt is unpredictable, every moment alive with danger. As we moved deeper into the forest, the signs of wild hog activity grew more obvious. Fresh tracks pressed into the damp soil, broken branches, patches of earth torn apart by powerful tusks searching for roots and insects. The deeper we went, the more it felt like stepping into their world. This wasn't a normal hunt. It was a battle for territory, and every sound in the woods reminded us that these animals could appear or disappear without warning. Following a narrow trail, we reached a shaded valley where the air hung thick with humidity. That's when we saw it. A single boar, massive and alert, standing perfectly still as if listening to the heartbeat of the forest. It must have sensed our presence. Boars often freeze before fleeing, trying to identify danger. For a few tense seconds, the animal and I stared at each other through the trees. Then I steadied my aim, inhaled slowly, and released a shot. The boar collapsed instantly, disappearing into the tall grass. We pushed forward, knowing there were more nearby. In hunting hogs, one shot is never the end. Where there's one, there are usually many. The land ahead opened slightly, giving us a vantage point over a small ridge. And there, towering in the fading light, was a giant boar so large we mistook it for a black bear. It moved with deliberate, heavy steps, its thick coat glistened. Even from a distance, its sheer size commanded respect. We lined up our shots, waited for the right moment, and fired together. The giant dropped with surprising speed, its bulk hitting the ground like a fallen tree. Late afternoon brought a new strategy. We set up bait traps along the forest edge, using food to draw the hogs out from deeper hiding. Hogs are opportunistic. They'll follow a food scent from far away. As daylight faded, shadows stretched across the forest floor. Then movement. A herd emerged cautiously, sniffing, testing the air. We held our positions, watching them approach the bait with a mix of hunger and carelessness. When the largest boar stepped forward, we took our shot. It fell instantly, while the others scattered into the dark. Night began to creep in, but we decided to go for one last hog before heading back. Luck was on our side. A final herd appeared, distracted and focused solely on feeding. Their confidence became their downfall. One of them stepped just a little too far from the group, unaware of our presence. With a steady breath and a clear line of sight, I took the shot. The boar dropped silently, and the forest returned to calm. By the time we gathered our kills and prepared to head back, it was clear that the population here was far greater than we expected. The hunt felt endless, and the forest still echoed with distant movement. Proof that this battle was far from over. As the sun dipped below the treetops, the forest transformed into a different world. Shadows stretched across the rugged Wisconsin woodland, and the air grew cooler, heavier, almost watchful. We assumed the day's efforts were over, but the forest wasn't done with us. Not yet. Just when we thought it was time to leave, distant rustling hinted that another group of wild hogs was on the move. Our plan had been simple: end the day, gather what we had hunted, and prepare for the next sunrise. But the deeper we spent time in these woods, the more we realized that these animals operated on their own unpredictable rhythms. Wild boars rarely stay silent for long. They roam in loose patterns, driven by hunger, instinct, and a sharp awareness of any threat. And tonight, all of that was about to unfold again. We decided to sweep the area one last time. Moving carefully through the undergrowth, we scanned every patch of brush. Then, from behind a dense line of pines, a faint vibration carried through the ground, a sign hunters learned to recognize. Something big was passing through. Moments later, a lone wild boar burst out of the shadows. It wasn't part of a herd. This one was older, more scarred, the kind that survives countless encounters and learns from each one. Boars like this don't hesitate. They attack or vanish. As it sprinted across the open patch ahead of us, time seemed to slow. I lifted the rifle, steadied my breath, and fired. The shot hit clean, dropping the animal before it could disappear back into the brush. But that victory was short-lived, because right after that, the forest erupted with movement. A second boar appeared, then a third, and then, emerging in a chaotic wave, an entire herd rushed through the trees, kicking up dirt and broken branches. It was a powerful reminder that where one hog goes down, others often lurk in the shadows, waiting watching. Their instincts sharpen when one of their own is targeted. For a moment, we froze, not out of fear, but out of calculation. Taking down a herd requires precision, patience, and a willingness to act within seconds. The animals scattered in all directions, some vanishing into the thickets, while others sprinted along the hillside. Their bodies tensed, movement unpredictable, senses heightened. I tracked one boar racing across my line of sight. It moved fast, weaving between fallen logs like it had memorized every inch of the terrain. I steadied the rifle, followed its motion, and pulled the trigger at the perfect instant. The boar collapsed mid-stride, skidding to a stop. My companion signaled from the ridge, indicating another group circling around. Wild boars rarely flee in a straight line. They loop back, hide in shallow pits, or dart between natural cover. So we pursued cautiously. As we followed the trail, broken branches and deep hoof prints guided us deeper into a dense thicket. The smell of disturbed earth was strong. Then we saw it, the largest boar of the herd, standing still between the tangled roots. Its ears twitched, nose raised, tried to detect where we were. Its entire posture screamed readiness. These animals may look heavy and slow, but when they charge, they cover ground in seconds. Missing a shot in a moment like this could mean the difference between success and being overtaken. I raised my weapon, aimed for the vital spot just beneath the shoulder, and fired. The boar dropped instantly, the forest absorbing the impact in silence. We continued forward until a clearing opened before us, revealing fresh tracks leading toward the mountain slope. And there, climbing along the ridge, another hog attempted a desperate escape. It moved with determination, pushing upwards despite the steep incline. I planted my feet, stabilized the rifle, and fired a long-distance shot. The boar crumpled and rolled partway down the slope before settling among the rocks. Still, the day was not done. As we made our way back toward the staging area, expecting the hunt to finally end, we encountered yet another group of stragglers, 3 boars traveling cautiously along the path. Their heads were low, ears swiveling, bodies tense. One wrong movement could send them scattering into every direction. Instead of rushing, we slowed down, creeping through the brush, matching their pace until the moment was right. When one of them paused to sniff the ground, we took the shot. Another clean hit, another threat eliminated. By the time we loaded the last hog onto the transport, darkness had fully claimed the forest. The stars above seemed to shine through the canopy, outlining the silhouettes of the land we were trying to protect. And still, somewhere out there, dozens more wild hogs roam these woods. Because that's the truth most people don't see. Wild boars aren't just another nuisance. They reproduce with incredible speed, 6 to 12 piglets per litter, multiple litters per year. They tear through crops, ruin soil, cause vehicle accidents, and put both people and livestock at risk. One successful hunt barely dents their numbers. This is not a weekend hobby. It's an ongoing battle, a responsibility. As we headed back, carrying the weight of the day's effort, one thing was clear. Today's victories were only the beginning. Tomorrow, next week, and every season forward, the fight would continue. These forests, these farms,